Hello, BookTube. All right, well, this is starting to get a little creepy. I got another mail delivery. Yet more books. I bet you're starting to regret this whole demand that I film every single thing I get, ain't you? Well, we go through these, and then I have to assume this is the last mail delivery of the day. I have to. It's only two packages. One of them, this one's immensely heavy. Uh, so who knows what it'll be. We'll go through these fairly quickly because this is a bit much, even for me, even for this channel. Let's see what this is. Oh, fantastic. Great. Okay, this is the finished copy. It comes out mid-August. This is the finished copy of Yuri Slezkin's The House of Government. The size of that thing. Look how beautiful it is. About a Soviet-era apartment complex that was meant to embody the new regime. It was meant to be the greatest example of urban living, the pure Soviet example of urban living. And Slezkin had the inspired idea to tell the story of that building as both its own story and also as a sort of an extended metaphor for the Soviet Union itself. I've read this twice now, and it is fantastic, just incredibly good. And I'm going to be reviewing it. I'm going to be reviewing it for the Christian Science Monitor. It was a bit of a sell, but anything I can do to get the word out on this book. So that's fantastic. Great. Fantastic. Okay, and then this next one is the last one. This has to be the end for today. This is like 4 mail deliveries in one day. This has to be it. So we'll keep this mail haul nice and quick. Oh, okay, this is 2 books. Oh, great. Okay. This first one is by Dennis Glover. It's called The Last Man in Europe, and it's a historical novel that struck me as really promising. April 1947. The idea has been brewing in his head for years. In a rundown farmhouse on a remote Scottish island, George Orwell begins his last and greatest work, 1984. In 2017, a time when the proliferation of technology has created an environment of constant surveillance and alternative facts that lead to a truth war between the government and the media, 1984 has reemerged as a timely must-read. In his debut novel, Dennis Glover masterfully explores the creation of Orwell's classic work, which for millions of readers worldwide defined the 20th century, and is once again proving with its unnerving resonance. So this is a historical novel about the composition of 1984, which is just the kind of book description that leaves the door wide open to it maybe being great. I did not off the top of my head remember that this was a debut novel, but that makes it all the better. And then the last thing, which is this is a nice big novel, another novel. I also requested this. This is Sun at Midnight. By Rosie Thomas, who did the Kashmir Shawl, a novel that I kind of sort of liked. And this one is about Antarctica, I think, if I remember correctly. The critically acclaimed author and master storyteller Rosie Thomas is renowned for her stories of international adventure and deeply felt romance. But Sun at Midnight brings the most ambitious journey yet to the page, a sweeping saga of loss and redemption that follows a singularly brilliant heroine to the end of the earth. There, she must either restart her life or lose it entirely. Alice, who as a scientist relies on method, precision, and tangible proof, is forced to critically evaluate her own life for the first time when her relationship with Oxford artist Peter Brown collapses spectacularly. Heartbroken, childless, and tied to Oxford by her work, it is time to break away. Accepting an invitation to travel to the southernmost point of the Earth, Antarctica, Alice ventures beyond all that she's known. Upon arrival, she is awestruck by the strangeness of a continent painted in shades of blue and white, lit by an unearthly permanent sunlight. And she meets James Rooker, a man who, like her, has nowhere further to run in this beautiful but unforgiving environment. Now that premise, that basic plot outline might seem like the most hackneyed thing in the world. You might read that and think, oh, don't I know every single thing that's going to happen in this book? In response to that, even though I haven't read the book yet, in response to that, I want to make 2 points. One, let's keep in mind, it doesn't matter if every single thing in this book is predictable. What matters is how it's done. It could be the most hackneyed story in the world. If it's told well, then who's going to care? I'm not. And thing number 2, a raw bones synopsis of the Kashmir Shawl would have produced the same feeling. You would have read it and thought, I've read this a million times before, and it was a wonderfully special reading experience. So this author has credit with me in the only way that authors can have it. People, I have sometimes had it brought to me that an author will, of course, have credit with me if I know them. That's not true. I'd be a poor critic if that were true. No, that's not true. You don't get any credit at all with me if I know you. No, you gain credit with me by not disappointing me, or by pleasing me and consistently. So I am actually eager to read this, and that's a good thing because I just noticed on this thing that it's due out next week, and so I'll have to get to it fairly quickly. But there you go. All right, so that is it, BookTube. I really think that is it. So you have The House of Government, which I cannot recommend highly enough, but it's 1,100 pages of Soviet history, so I realize that's an uphill push. And then, what's this one called? Sun at Midnight. Romance in Antarctica. I did not find romance in Antarctica. And The Last Man in Europe, a novel about the composition of 1984 that might actually be really good. I will report back on the two novels. And in The House of Government, I realize it's a tough sell, but it actually ought to be considered a great Russian novel. That's exactly what it feels like.